What's up, guys? So today we are looking at the band Northern Kings. And Northern Kings, I believe, is a conglomeration of a few different people that are rather... They came from all different bands, but many of them are well known in Finland. However, the song Brothers in Arms is, from the title, I can assume it's about military service, and that's going to definitely hit a few nerves with me, and we will see what we will see, and we'll see how this plays out. So without further ado, let's go.
These mist-covered mountains are a home now for me, but my home is the lowlands and always will be. Someday you'll return to your valleys and your farms, and you no longer burn to be brothers in arms. Through these fields of destruction, baptisms of fire, I watched all your suffering as the battles raged high, and all they did hurt me so bad in fear and alarm. You did not deserve me, my brothers in arms. There's so many different worlds, so many different suns, and we have just one world, but we live in different
I knew this song would be difficult to listen to and to watch. Sure enough, it was. Um, Most of the footage from here is from the Vietnam War. Um, I would argue that the Vietnam War was one of the biggest military failures that America ever entered, ever took part in, because it was a war that they didn't enter to win. They basically, those in power basically wasted soldiers' lives to meddle in other countries' affairs and to get involved where they did not need to. And that's my opinion. I know other people have other opinions, but I think one of the biggest failures of the Vietnam War was how many of the soldiers who fought, who were on ground there, were treated when they came home. I don't know how much, I doubt people in other countries really pay attention to how the U.S. does stuff back home. They just hear about the U.S. as a major world player. But when the Vietnam War ended, a lot of the vets came back to be ostracized from society. They were considered brutal murderers who went to Vietnam just to kill people and to fight in a war that was wrong. And the thing is, who knows what those soldiers were told when they went there? Like, when you're a lower enlisted soldier, you don't get a lot of information. You don't get told what's actually happening a lot of the time. You get told what your orders are and what your assignments are, and you execute those orders as best you can. And if you're told these people are the enemy and you need to kill them when you see them, that's what you do. Now, that does not excuse those people who killed innocent civilians, because that happened there too. But all these soldiers came back from this war that they had served in and had seen horrible things, had gone through terrible things, and came back home only to be ostracized and spat on for what they did. And so many people accused soldiers who went to war to defend their country and went to war for honorable reasons, went to an unjust war. And some of them died there. Some of them came back with their friends dead. And they were treated like they were the ones who orchestrated the war. And they were the ones who, it was their decision to go. And it was their decision to do this or that. And that's, to a degree, yeah, you have a decision to make. Will you follow orders or will you not? And many people who just say, well, I wouldn't have followed orders. Join the army, join the Marines, join the Navy, and then try to say that. Then do that. See how far it gets you. And see what kind of penalties come with that. Especially in a wartime. It's not that simple. It's not that easy. Now, to get back to the song at hand and not just what war the footage is from. This is not like an official music video from the band. So I think this was made by someone in America. But I cannot agree more lyrically. Musically, it's amazing. It's outstanding. It's exactly what I would expect for a tribute to those who have fought and those who have died. And those who have suffered at the hands of war and realized how stupid it is to really be at war. There are those people, of course, that want to kill people. There are people out there that have messed up psyches that say, I love killing, I love watching people in pain, and I love this, I love that. And there will always be people that are messed up like that. But the majority of people are not that way. They are not lovers of gore and death. They are not people who want to see other people bleeding on the ground with their arms chopped off or mutilated or whatever. They're not people who want to see other lives destroyed. So this second verse, I think, is one of the verses that lyrically hit me the hardest. This one that says, through these fields of destructions, through baptisms of fire, I watched all your suffering as the battles rage higher. And though they did hurt me so bad, in the fear and alarm, you did not desert me, my brothers in arms. And that's something that's really hard to explain to people who have not served in the army. The idea of brothers at arms, you could dislike somebody in your platoon, you could dislike somebody in your squad all you want, but at the end of the day, you know, if it came down to the wire, those people would be there and back you up. And some of them would even be willing to put their lives on the line for you to make sure that you came home. And that's kind of what I feel this verse speaks to. I am talking a little slower in this one because if I was going too fast, I would probably lose it. But the next line that really struck me was the last one, where it says, we are fools to make war on our brothers at arms. And that brings us full circle to all of humanity is one race, and all of humanity is one people, if you will. And so many people choose not to view things that way. You have people that want power, so they force conflict and stuff like this. But as people, that's not how it is. As people, we should be able to see everyone as equal and understand that everyone has value and everyone is special and everyone deserves respect, regardless of your race, your religion, your tribe, your ethnicity, whatever. You should all be treated as equal. And I think that's something that many people, even today, like so many people are on the internet now and choose to use it as an anonymous filter to just spew whatever bullshit garbage they want at people because they're angry in their real life. And it's pathetic because nobody should do that. Like, it's completely uncalled for and unjustified. Now this wall here is not just any wall. This wall's in our nation's capital. It's in Washington, D.C. And it is a wall known as the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. And it has the names of all the Vietnam soldiers that died serving in Vietnam. And I believe it's the soldiers that died or were prisoners of war or were missing in action. And memorials like this are very hard for me to look at because more so than some people to me. When you see people's names, those names represent actual people that died, and their families were served the news that your son, your father, your brother is dead. And every single one of those people that died, it impacted more people back home. And to me, just that hurts so much. Just to, and I tend to be more sensitive than a lot of people towards stuff like that. And I know many countries have lost soldiers, and the reason I'm speaking to America is because that's what I know. That's where I served, and that's where I will always call my home country, if you will. Now, that doesn't mean I think less of other countries. I think there are many very good countries in the world. I think there are many countries that need help. And when I say they need help, they need help. They don't need military. They don't need to be crushed by an elite military to come in and topple everything. Now, where there are human rights violations, that's something else. And that's like, there are very few countries that are completely blameless when it comes to human rights violations. And I think every country on the planet has been guilty at one time or another of doing things unethically. Whether that's a citizen who did things unethically, or whether it's a government who did things unethically, or whether it's an entire department that did things unethically. But I think the biggest lesson to learn from songs like this is that we shouldn't be fighting each other. We should be coming together and trying to talk things through and be like, so many people want to enter a discussion as the person who's right before they even talk, before they even know where the other person's coming from. They just want to be right first, and they don't have time to listen to why they're not, or where someone else is coming from, or why someone else would think differently. And I think that's a huge problem that humans have. Like, for example, if I'm a Christian, right, and someone else is a Jew, and I'm American and they're Israeli or something, you know, and I sit down with the mentality of, okay, well, I have to convince this person that Jesus is God. And the Jew comes in and sits down and says, okay, and is thinking, okay, I have to convince this guy that Jesus wasn't God's son, you know. And you come into that argument or that discussion like that, 100% is going to start as an argument. There's going to be no consideration for the other person whatsoever. But if you come in there and saying, well, I know what I believe, but I want to hear what they have to say so I can get a better understanding of where they're coming from. And likewise, if the other party says, well, I know what I believe, but I want to be kind and hear what they have to say first, then you will gain perspective of somebody else's life, someone else's beliefs, and you will actually see the person behind those beliefs and those statements. And you will both gain more mutual respect between each other than you ever would by just trying to argue things out. And I guess that's kind of why I wanted to make a YouTube channel in the first place, was really to make a place where people can comment on stuff and talk and communicate, you know, what they think, what they feel. And I'm not saying a safe space. I don't believe in safe spaces. I think everyone needs their bubbles burst to a degree, but that doesn't mean it has to be a smack in the face kind of bubble burst. It can be a discussion, you know. And I think that everyone can learn something from someone else who is not walking in their shoes. As the song says, we live in one world, but within that world we live in separate worlds. And I think that's really accurate, because we all live in isolation to a degree. And I think we could all benefit significantly if we all just sat down and we decided to talk things out, and we decided to listen to each other. And I will stop with this video now, because this song was 6 minutes and we're on 23-minute long video, so I've definitely gone way over the time that I wanted to. But with all that being said, I'm not a fighter. I want to talk to people, and I want to get to know people, and I want to help people. I don't want to fight, if that makes sense. I would rather listen and figure things out that way. So if you also like listening and talking and not fighting, then yeah, hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Instagram, whatever, and talk to me. You know, like, let's have a discussion. Let's talk about what we believe. Let's talk about stuff and learn from each other, instead of bashing people over the heads with our Bibles, or bashing people over the heads with our country's flags. You know, at any rate, I will stop my rant there. And wherever you guys are, whoever's listening at this point, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something. I hope I can learn something from what you comment below. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you do like the more in-depth content. I know I enjoy putting that out, because it puts me out there. And I don't think that one of the reasons my videos are so simple is because I'm trying to put out authentic reactions, and also authentic statements that don't require editing, that make everything perfect, that make my blemishes or make my faults go away. Because I'm not trying to portray myself like that. I want to be real, I want to be authentic, and I want that to be visible. So that being said, be safe, be kind, and be healthy. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.